next few moments, we will try to give you an impression of a new kind of film experience. If your curiosity is aroused, you are ready for Phase 4.
They're sending back my message.
What does it mean?
This is no message.
If there's an intelligence there, I want it to know there's an intelligence here. I believe that they'll move rather quickly into desert areas, taking over the countryside first, then laying siege to towns and cities. We have only one chance. Weaknesses. Why don't they kill us? What do they want?
How do you fight a force that knows what your next move will be before you think of it?
Being an artist is a very solitary lifestyle. You sit in a room by yourself and you draw.
Dave Stevens was a once-in-a-lifetime artist.
I know what I want out of it, and I demand everything out of myself.
I saw The Rocketeer, and I was like, what is this? Looks like some kind of scrawny Doc Savage-y looking guy with a rocket pack. God, this guy can draw.
His lines were so clean and so sharp. There's a certain magic involved. That passion for what he's doing.
I threw in everything I loved as a kid and just stirred up the pot.
How do you take this masterpiece and move it to the screen?
The thing about The Rocketeer, we were pitching it as an adventure movie like Doc Savage or Indiana Jones.
In the comic, the Jenny character was based on Betty Page.
Holy cow, now you're talking.
She's been my ideal female figure since I was a kid.
The thing about him is he loved women, and not in a dirty way, he just loved women.
He captured the spark in their eyes.
I think he just really wanted to see me naked.
That's what got him into all kinds of trouble.
In the back of my mind, I always thought, Dave wants to be a real outlaw.
Good girl during the day and the naughty girl at night.
Dave definitely lived his life the way he drew.
Oh my God, he was a pain in the...
Everything had to be perfect.
This is what it's like to pursue a life as a creative individual.
It's like a diamond, you know, you can't rush a diamond.
He changed the way I saw life, beauty, reality, love. He's unique, and you just wish there was more of it.
You want to know who David Stevens was? Look at what he drew.
Interface is active and we're at full power.
What's your levels this time?
You just make sure you pull the trigger on the way out.
After initial binding, you'll be locked in, with no loss of control permitted during this performance. We can't afford any mistakes on this one.
Ready?
You want
Good evening, folks. Yes, you just watched a few trailers, if you've been here from the start. And those 3 trailers are as follows. The last trailer you just saw was Possessor, directed by Brandon Cronenberg. And I believe that was 2020. The trailer before that was, of course, the great Saul Bass, his film, his science fiction masterpiece, Phase 4 from 1974. And also we saw the relatively new film, an incredible documentary about Dave Stevens called Drawn to Perfection from 2022. It is a new documentary, folks. And what all of these trailers have in common, of course, the movies are on Canopy and they're all commercial free. Okay, you can watch them, no ads, right? So that's what we're going to dive into tonight. But of course, first we're going to take a quick look at Bud Plant, Bud's art books, because he has added a few tasty treats for us to take a gander at. But first, let's take a look and see who's in the chat. Michael Taylor is on the scene. Hello. Werewolf by lunchtime. Howdy. Easy Comic Reader is here. Hello, Easy Comic Reader. How you doing? Chad M is on the scene. Hello, Chad M. Good God, man. Oh, well, I think hold on. Chad M says, I got to finish watching the Quatermass Experiment 1 and 2 movies. I don't know where to find Quatermass and the Pit. Chad M, I've got an instant answer for you. The Internet Archive. That is where it is. You can see the entire, I believe the thing is about 3 hours. It is an epic. It's fantastic. And it is on the Internet Archive. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find the damn thing. And finally, I ended up at the Internet Archive. And lo and behold, there it was. Quatermass in the Pit, the original. This is the late 50s version, which I think is the best. There is of course, they did the later, I think it was a late 60s version. It's a shorter film. It's good, but it doesn't get into the depth that the original Quatermass in the Pit from the late 50s did. And it's just fantastic. It is on the Internet Archive. You can find that readily, my good man. Werewolf by Lunchtime. Where do I find the Dave Stevens documentary? Well, it's a funny thing you ask, Werewolf. It is on Canopy. Once again, I think we've had this conversation before. Canopy is a service that is tied to the U.S. libraries. And so if you have a library card and your library is participating with Canopy, you just give them your card number at canopy.com. We'll get into this when we go to the Canopy site. But in any case, and then you're in. You're a member, free member, and that's it. But we were arguing as to whether or not there was an international library thing with Canopy. I don't think so. So there's that. Michael Taylor says, I like the Dave Stevens opening. Wow, Betty Page. Indeed, wow, 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 wow. Easy Comic Reader says, man, I wish I had a library that offered Canopy. So where you're at, there is no, like, for instance, the head library, the main library does not work with Canopy. Easy Comic Reader, that sucks. Good Lord. Michael Taylor says, does Tubi have that Dave Stevens doc? Not to my knowledge. This is why we're going to look at Canopy heavily tonight, folks, because they got a lot of shit that Tubi don't got. Okay, that is just the reality of it. Chad says, thank you, Mike. I didn't know there were 2 versions. Yes, there are. The second version, that late 60s version, was was called Quatermass in the Pit, but it was also called 5 Million Years to Earth. And it's very good. But I got to say that 3-hour version, the late 50s Quatermass in the Pit, is just spectacular. Now, granted, it's late 50s British television. The acting, everything is really good. Of course, the effects are, well, they're late 50s effects. That's all I'm going to say. I think they did a really good job for the time. But man, is it well done. I really enjoy it. I like to watch that every year. It's another one of those yearly watches for me. Quatermass in the Pit from, I'm going to say 1958, somewhere in there. Fantastic. It is on the Internet Archive, folks. It is almost impossible to find otherwise. You're just going to have to go to the Internet Archive. It's almost as hard to find as Colossus the Forbin Project. Almost. Okay, you see what I did there? Almost. Michael Taylor, yeah, I definitely want to see that Dave Stevens doc. Yes, and it is great. It is on Canopy, and we're going to take a close look at that. Chad, I'm going to explain the Canopy brilliance very soon here. We are going to dive right into the website, and you can see the glory of Canopy. Actually, it's just a really great, like a plan. I don't want to say plan B to Tubi. It's, I mean, obviously there's no ads. So when you're watching the movies, they're free and there are no ads. Okay. This is the great thing about the Canopy deal. But we're going to get into it. And they have films that Tubi just does not get, such as Dave Stevens' Drawn to Perfection. Now, eventually they may get it. Tubi might get that. Who knows? Easy Comic Reader. I've looked down here in the Rio Grande Valley. No luck. Okay, well, Michael Taylor, first you'd have to spell it correctly. It's spelled with a K. It's canopy.com with a K. And so what you do is you got to go to canopy.com, put in your library card number. And if your library is playing pool with Canopy, you're in. You're a member. You get to see free movies without ads. I will get into that shortly. In any case, folks, let's take a little gander at some of the stuff that Bud Plant has just gotten. Well, this is Bud's Artbooks, of course.com. But he has just added some tasty little treats here that you guys might be interested in. And as you can see there, The Planetoid and Other Stories. Now, that's a kind of a new one on me. Now, it is illustrated by the great Joe Orlando. So some people might, Joe Orlando fans might find this indispensable. Joe Orlando became a mainstay at EC, especially on science fiction, and The Planetoid and Other Stories collects his first 24 stories. During the EC days, folks. All of them scripted by editor-writer Al Feldstein. There you go. So it is, whoa, that is totally great. This volume also includes a complete reproduction of EC's special issue devoted to its own 32-page illustrated factual flying saucer report with art by Orlando, Wallace Wood, George Evans, and Reed Crandall. This is brand new for 2023 from Fantagraphics, folks. The Planetoid and Other Stories. Looks really good. That is totally cool. For those Sergeant Fury fans, Marvel has released Volume 2, Sergeant Fury Epic Collection Berlin Breakout. Marvel has also released Marvel Masterworks The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. Obviously, it features Amazing Fantasy 15, I'm assuming, since it's on the cover. And these I'm not familiar with. Maybe somebody in the chat knows about Buck Danny. I don't know. I've never really, I can't say I've read a story of Buck Danny before, but this is volume 1, Sabers Over Korea, folks. And Duel in Mig Alley. Yeah, there we go. Buck Danny Classics Volume 2. And then we have Walt Disney's Uncle Scrooge, The Cave of Ali Baba. I don't know. And some interesting Marvel stuff. Captain Marvel Jr. and the Marvel Family. Now, these are facsimile editions of those comic books, along with Captain Marvel Adventures number 18. Facsimile edition. Let's take a slightly closer look at that cover, folks. I always loved that cover. That is just so great. Classic Captain Marvel right there. I just love it. I love it. I love it. So this is a facsimile, $15.99. Now, this is some interesting stuff here, folks. Spook comic number 1, I believe this is from 1946. It's not a horror comic per se. As they explain here, reprints 1946 Spook Comics number 1. There's a lot of crime shit in here. There is a little bit of horror, but it's a mixed bag. And taking inspiration from the 1920 silent horror film Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, meet Paul Bearer. Get it? Paul Bearer, who visits a mental hospital and interviews a patient who says he was turned into a living corpse and used as a stage performer, abducting celebrities who were then put into a trance and displayed in a wax museum. You know, that's a pretty damn good plot right there. Kind of liking that. Huh. Well, in any case, this is PS Art Books, once again, reprinting Spook Comics number 1. Let's take a look at some, let's see some additional info. Yeah, it's 38 pages. $20 is a little steep for that, in my opinion, but maybe they'll knock the price down a bit. Check it out. Fight Comics featuring Senorita Rio. Volume 1, folks, right here. Let's take a little gander. Now, Nick Cardy is in this. I know that. Nick Cardy, Alex Blum, and Lily Renee. Ho, ho, ho. Yes, some rather snacky headlights on the cover. 1942 to 1944, highly recommended. Art by Nick Cardy, Lily Renee et al. A wonderful wartime series, usually 10 full pages in each issue. This lovely actress turned agent was a mainstay in Fight for many years. Wow. There we go. Let's take a look. They've got a few interior pages. Oh, that is so awesome. Senorita Rio by Morgan Hawkins. Hawkins. That is nice and leggy. Let's take a look, see what we got. Oh, very cool. Look at this guy. Man. I think back in the day you would have called him a mook. But in any case, woo! Some more leggy action from Senorita Rio. I'm digging it. I am digging that. And one more. They turned on the leg for this series, no doubt about that. Senorita Rio, the world's most devastating secret agent. Nightmare of Axis operators. Toast of Latin America's gay caballeros. Okay, there we go. Right there. Also appearing exclusively in Fight Comics, Rip Carson, Shark Brody, Hooks Devlin, and many others. Good Lord. That is some great shit right there, folks. So this collects issues 19 through 34, covering 1942 to 1944. It's $30. It is out of print, so they only have a few issues left. Let's take a look at the additional info. 184 pages. That's pretty good. Not bad, not bad. PS Art Books, of course, strikes again. Now check this out, Mr. Mystery Volume 2. This one has a special place in my heart, folks. Oh, yes. It is, of course, PS Art Books again. This collects issues number 6 through number 10. Okay. This is one of the greatest. Okay, check it out. Recommended by art by Mo Marcus, Basil Wolverton, Tony Mortillaro, Howard Nostrand, Ross Andrew, et al. And of course, the fantastic Bernard Bailey, crushing it on the covers. But yeah, so they describe some of these. We have sexy women in a classic bondage torture cover on number 6. Then on number 7, being buried alive. Then on issue number 8, faced with an explosive creature coming through a porthole. Now that's always kind of deadly when you have the explosive creature coming through a porthole, folks. I think you know what I'm saying right there. And I'm going to show you that cover. And this is the cover. This is issue number 8 of Mr. Mystery. I still have this, the original freaking November 1952 issue number 8, near and dear to my heart, with one of the most insane covers I've ever seen in my life. Now, hopefully you guys can see that pretty clearly. Basically what it is, this woman is sitting there and, you know, she's in her cabin on a ship. And it's, of course, the SS Mystery. And she's reading a book. You know, she's having a good old time reading a book in her sexy lingerie. And then suddenly this fucking rotting creature just comes flying through her porthole. Okay? And then you can only imagine what happens after that. It's just one of the most insane comic book covers I've ever seen in my life. You can just look at it and be like, okay, what the fuck? Is that thing alive? Is it going to come in and proceed to like devour her? Or is it just a corpse that's flying through the porthole? Who knows? But it is a fantastic cover. It's one of my favorite pre-code covers of all time. And that is, of course, to Mystery number 8, November of 1952. So there you go. That looks like a good one right there. PS Art Books, Mr. Mystery, Volume 2. And, man, this is great. I have a facsimile copy of this, The Dead Who Walk. Now, this is like a pretty long story. I want to say I wonder if they say anything here. I want to say the story is like 30 pages long. It's one story. The facsimile I have, it's just one story. And it's really cool. It's creepy as hell. Art by Tex Blaisdell. This Avon publication was a notable one-shot featuring a single story that was genuinely creepy and suspenseful. Check on that. Really good one. Out of the horrible abyss known as death came a ghastly army of the dead. Thirsting for the pleasures of the living, these lost souls wanted human bodies. But a beautiful girl and 2 brave men dared to defy the dead who walk. PS Art Books 2022. Excellent. Quite good indeed. Highly recommended. The Dead Who Walk. Great story. Great pre-code stuff. Commander Battle and the Atomic Sub. More science fiction pre-code there. Now this is getting into the post pre-code, obviously, because you got your little thing there. But I love this cover for Midnight Comics. Always loved this cover. Obviously, you've got the comics code. This is collecting issues 1 through 5, 1957 to 1958. So the code had already been implemented, but it's a really cool cover. For some reason, I just like it. You know, it's this guy knocking at the door. Great gothic, weird door knocker. And of course, this creepy green hand. Enter, but I already know your message. He sailed into silence. Okay, there you go. Right there. Art by Ken Battlefield, Robert Webb, and the other Iger Shop crew, folks. A lot of Iger Shop going on. PS Art books, of course. Very cool stuff. As is Worlds of Fear Volume 2. Check out that cover. I mean, what the freaking hell? That is really great, man. Yeah, God, you know, that all of those cats, check it out. Yeah, Norm Saunders, Bernard Bailey, Shelley Maldoff. From the magical days of 1952 and featuring artists and writers such as Sheldon Maldoff, Bernard Bailey, Mo Marcus, Bob McCarty. His work is this collection's highlight with a fine story in every issue that could be debatable. And Norman Saunders, who did some of the great painted covers of all time. Crossing horror and science fiction has never been more enjoyable. Lock the door, flip the tab on a can of soda, and delve into those potato chips. Completes the series, including a classic drowning cover and the iconic Man with No Eyes Saunders cover and eyes ripped out story in the last issue. I wonder if they've got that here. That is some, oh man, that is awesome. Satan Stradivari. Look, check that out. Man, that is just beautiful. I may have to get this, you know. This one's kind of a tasty looking morsel. Whoa, Journey into Chaos. Nice, nice, nice. Wow. They do not have that Saunders cover, but I love this one too. Yeah, Worlds of Fear. Yeah, this one has Satan Stradivari. Really cool cover. Oh my God. That is some good stuff, folks. God. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Worlds of Fear Volume 2. Damn. And that was it. But some really great PS Art book stuff. Loving them facsimiles, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. Let us go to the comments, of which I know there's probably a few. Michael Taylor says, Bud Plant has a book that reprints Captain Marvel Jr. comics. I'm thinking about buying those. Chad says, the real Captain Marvel. The real Captain Marvel. Yes. Correct. And some really nice, classic artwork on those. Michael Taylor says, they also have that Alter Ego Adams tribute. Yep. That is a nice one. Easy Comic Reader. Va Va Voom. Yes. La Señorita Rio. Oh, yes. Loving it. Michael Taylor. Yeah, Bud Plant has a lot of good books. I went on the website earlier today. That's a cool cover. The monster crashing through the porthole. Werewolf says, I just got an email from my comic shop telling me the Dead Can Walk is in stock. It's on my want list. Weird. That is weird, Werewolf. And what the hell? Okay, now are you like Bulldog by lunchtime now? What happened to that really cool werewolf icon you had there? You become Bulldog by lunchtime, Werewolf. Werewolf says $350 for a one choke. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Werewolf by lunchtime. That is absolutely absurd. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact I mean, if you looked, I absolutely can guarantee you could get a 2.5 for $350. I guarantee it to this day. You just got to look. You know, I mean, look, I love my comic shop. Don't we all? I think Buddy over there, I think it's Buddy Saunders, pretty sure. Great guy. Love the guy to death. He's just fantastic. What a cool dude. Some of their prices are a little up there. Let's put it that way. They're a little steep. And if you look around, sometimes you can snag some stuff cheaper. Now, sometimes he's got the best price. It really depends. And one of the things to look out for is that they have weekly auctions. I have picked up some awesome deals on my comic shop for, you know, during those weekly auctions that he has. Some really good deals, I'm telling you, because, you know, if you got like 200 things that are being auctioned off, chances are people are going to let some stuff go through the cracks, and they do. I'm just telling you that right now. So I would advise everybody, go to mycomicshop.com. If you're looking for, you know, collectibles, it doesn't matter, like newer comics, older comics, pre-code, original art, prints, signed prints, numbered, all that stuff. Check it out, because he has weekly auctions and he's auctioning that stuff off all the time. Eric Boyd is on the scene. Good God, man, how's it going? Hail to the mighty chat. Oops. Easy Comic Reader says, I've been reading a lot of pre-code on Comic Book Plus. Yes, it is the digital mainstay for pre-code comics. They just do it. Man, those scans on Comic Book Plus are fantastic. I really dig the hell out of that site. It's such a great, you know, source for reading pre-code horror comics. And of course, I did a video about it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's one of the ones, I think it was part 2 or maybe it was part 1. Part 1 of the series about where to find pre-code comics, including reprints and digitized comics. And of course, Comic Book Plus is top of the list for digitized. There's no doubt about it. There's a few other great places too, obviously. My Otilla says, yeah, that World of Fear, very cool cover. Yeah, they did some really good stuff. You know, that's the thing. It's like people overlook a lot of pre-code comics, you know, and they have this weird fetish for EC. And I'm like, yes, EC, great artists. They put out great stuff. There's no doubt about it. Other publishers put out equally as good stuff, folks. And sometimes their stories were much more interesting than EC. I'm just going to say that right now. It's an absolute fact. And that's why I did Haunted Thrills, to showcase those other comic books, you know, that people may have missed, you know, because it's always EC this and EC that when it comes to pre-code. And that's just, it ain't right. It ain't right, folks. It ain't right. Okay. So in any case, boxer dog by lunchtime. It is. Oh, look at him, though. He does have he has kind of a scowl. So that's pretty good. Should draw some really long fangs on him. That'd be really, with blood dripping, you know. That'd be cool. Eric says, my family found a stray boxer, Mitch, at the dump in a small town we lived in many years ago. She was skinny, AF. We adopted her. She was a great dog. Yep, that happens. You know, it happened to my ex-wife and I. We literally found a dog in a street in Peru and took it in, you know, and that was that. He tried to kill us. No, just kidding. He was a great dog. Although he was definitely a pretty wild dog, though. He definitely tried to kill other dogs and humans until we kind of got him acclimated to people. Werewolf by Lunchtime. I grew up with boxers. I had 4 great dogs. Completely bonkers. Yes, yes. Okay. Eric says, Werewolf by Lunchtime sounds awesome. The boxer we had, she was energetic and funny and very loving. Loved to play, miss her. Yep. Beautiful pup. It's a beautiful pup. All right, guys. So that was Bud's art books. As I think you'll agree, man, some great stuff. Bud's is just getting some fantastic stuff. There ain't no doubt about it. Now, before we get on over to Canopy, folks, I want to direct your attention, of course, to my freaking channel here, the Horror Mike channel. And you can see it right there in all of its glory, naturally. And what we're going to do, first of all, I would like to point out that there are currently 918 subscribers. Yes, pulling in on that 1,000 subscriber mark, folks. It's going to happen. Should happen easily by July. Of course, we are moving into the quote-unquote summer slowdown. And I see a lot of people are feeling that shit. Always happens. It's just one of those things. It's part of life. You got to just deal with it. However, I am still confident that I'll get over 1,000 by July. And as you probably have all seen, or if you haven't, maybe you're dead or something. I have launched the Horror Mike 1,000 subscriber giveaway. The video on the channel is currently highlighted on the channel for your amusement and informational purposes. But let's take a look. I want to take a slightly deeper dive, folks. We're going to get a little deeper into this and just show you some of the mechanics going on here with the Horror Mike channel. Now check this shit out. This is what's been going down in the last 28 days, folks. I imagine you can probably see that. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Let's take a look. Yeah, you can see that. So, yeah, so what's happened in the last 28 days is that I've had almost 13,000 views, over 7,000 views more than normal. That's attributed to, of course, Haunted Thrills, which is kicking ass still. It's just absolutely still kicking butt. There's a couple of other videos, of course, including that Colossus, the Forbidden Project conspiracy video, which just, I got to tell you, folks, the SEO on that motherfucker just hit, it was right on target. It was it varied between number 3 and number 6 on YouTube. If you looked up, it might even still be there. I don't know. If you did a search on Colossus, the Forbidden Project for a couple of weeks there, like as soon as it came out the gate, they ranked it between number 3 and 6 on the search. It was consistent. So I killed it on the SEO on that motherfucker. And so thusly, it's pushing 3K views right now. But as you can see, yeah, the watch time in hours, another 811 hours over the last month. And subscribers, 129, 78 more than usual, which is true. Because typically speaking, I get 40 to 50 new subscribers a month. So, yeah, there was a blast. And once again, Haunted Thrills, the Colossus, the Forbidden Project. And there was another one, too. It's not on here right now, but I'm sure it's here. Let me oh, yeah. It's the Heavy Metal Publishes Creepy and Eerie. Where the hell did that thing go? Oh, right there. Yeah, this one. Heavy Metal. Shit. See, there you go. That one. This one has gone through the roof, folks. It's it's rapidly closing in on 4,000 views. I can't even believe it. This is like from 3 months ago, February 7th of this year. And it's just been kicking ass on all cylinders. It's just one of those things. I think it's just a great combination of heavy metal, creepy and eerie, and Richard Corbin. When you got that triple threat, it's kind of hard to ignore, really, you know? So that's really quite nice indeed. Okay, go back there. There you go. Behave. So that's basically it. So what it all comes down to is that to date, I've got 918 subscribers. And Haunted Thrills is still kicking ass. Now, it's gone down to 74 views, which is roughly, I don't know, 40 views a day. It was kicking and it was doing like 80 views a day for a few weeks. It's still doing very well, though. And I'm quite confident it's going to be well over 25,000 views by the end of the year. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if you look at it here, it's just a few days ago. Once again, it's just gone over 22K views. I just told you guys, like, what, 2 weeks ago, it had gone over 21. Well, now it's over 22. So it is surging like a mofo rising. If I can bring this up. I guess I can. That's pretty good. Let's see. How does that look? Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, so you can see. Yeah, it's definitely, it is the hot one, no doubt. However, as I said, this heavy metal publishes creepy and eerie is really kicking butt. I don't know. It's a strange one. It is great. I mean, obviously, it's three things I love: Richard Corbin, heavy metal, and creepy and eerie magazines. Are you kidding? That is just such a combo. Glad to see that it's doing well, you know. So that's kind of the thing right there, folks. However, enough of this levity. Where are we here? There we are. Beautiful. Folks says, oops, the hell just happened? That's weird. Oh, there we are. Sorry about that. Here's where we're at. Now, this is canopy.com. The amazing canopy.com, folks. It ain't no joke. It's right here. And if you're not on it, you should get on it. Now, canopy.com is the website that is linked to the our national public library system. So typically speaking, like for instance, okay, I'm in Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, 200,000 people. It's sizable. But of course, keep in mind that like 70,000 of that population are students. So it's not always 200,000 people, if you catch my drift on that. But it's big enough. The main library has a deal with canopy.com. And so I went over there, got my library card, went to canopy.com, put in my library card number, and voila, I became a member of Canopy. And as you can see, if you can read that on top, what happens? I mean, okay, look, guys. These films, many of these films they get new films. I mean, like a film that comes out 6 months ago, it's suddenly on Canopy. I call that new, okay? And there's no commercials. You just get in there, click on it, and you watch the film with no ads. It's fantastic. Now, you get 8 credits a month. So you can watch 8 commercial-free films a month. That's the limit. That's the limit they have on it. It's probably a good idea because I would imagine that millions of people are using this freaking thing. And since it is free, they have to put a lid on it. I've already gone through my credits. I have 0 of 8 credits left for the month because they just kicked ass this month. I mean, wait until you see the stuff they got. It is just absolutely fantastic. So I am going to go back up because I know we've had a few comments here. God damn. Okay, we've had more than a few. Okay, where are we? Michael Taylor, Mike, your story reminds me of Cujo. Yeah, he was like Cujo, but he only weighed like 20 pounds. He was a 20-pound Cujo. And he could like leap in the air. You know, you ever see Monty Python and the Holy Grail with the rabbit? It was like the little rabbit, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's just a little rabbit," and he leaps into the air and he's like starts biting the knight's heads off. The dog was kind of like that. Just a incredible, man. Meyer Greenblatt is on the scene. Hello, Meyer. Easy Comic Reader. Yeah, Mike, been finding a lot of publishers on Comic Book Plus. Yep, I've never heard of yet. A ton. There were so many great pre-code publishers. Easy Comic Reader. And you can, if I'm sure you have seen Haunted Thrills, but in case you haven't, I list a lot of those publishers in the documentary and on the separate videos that I have on my channel. Eric says, if anyone wants, please check out my YouTube channel and possibly subscribe. Thanks. There you go. There's the link, folks. I heartily recommend it. I am a subscriber to the Eric Boyd channel, and I love watching his draw streams. Very cool. Easy Comic Reader says, Eric Boyd just subbed. There you go. Thank you very much, Easy Comic Reader. I hope to post a video later tonight or tomorrow at the latest. Fantastic. Easy Comic Reader, check it out after the show. Well, so this is Mike. This is great news. Congrats. Thank you, Michael Taylor. I got to finish that off, though. Jesus, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Jacob is on the scene. Hello, Jacob. How's it going? Good to see you, man. Michael Taylor says, Eric, please post your link. He has posted it. Eric also says, Blazing Saddles is on Tubi. It is. Oh, good Lord. Jesus Christ. Okay, there we go. Eric, I had some computer issues. Hope to get, I haven't done a live stream in a while. Okay, well, hopefully that'll work out tonight, Eric. That'd be totally cool. I hear Canopy has tons of, they have tons of comic documentaries. They have tons. They got like, I would say like it, well, when I say tons, they at least have a dozen comic book documentaries. Easy Comic Reader. Eric says, I watched Laser Blast last week. Oi, I recall seeing it before. It's just been such a long time since I did. Yeah, the animation on that is just wonderful. I just love that film. And primarily for the Dave Allen animation, of course. Now, one thing, I got to finish this off, folks. I just kind of left you guys hanging. Good Lord. Didn't mean to do that. Before we do the Canopy, the whole reason why I showed you the damn YouTube thing was here. Check it out. There it is. Horror Mike's 1,000 subscriber giveaway. It's right on top of my page. Mothers. Good Lord. Mothers from another. There's the link right there. In any case, this explains all you need to know about the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which are 3 things. Very simple. Subscribe to the Horror Mike YouTube channel, which you guys have already done. Share this blog post, which is this page, or the video that I made, which you guys just saw on my YouTube channel. Then just send me an email right here to admin@horroranthologymovies.com with your YouTube subscriber name and a link where you shared the post or the video on social media. It's really that simple, folks. All you got to do. And of course, just to refresh your memory, the prizes are as such. The Inkal, brand new, hardbound, 316-page Mobius and Jodorowsky epic sci-fi graphic novel that first appeared in the pages of Metal Hurlant and Heavy Metal magazines. Good Lord, it is brand spanking new. Heavy Metal issue number 2, May 1977. VG Plus condition copy. Incredible Mobius cover, art by Droulet, Corbin, Mobius, and more. And of course, Heavy Metal magazine from July of 1979 with an insane phantasmagorical cover by Richard Corbin. So those are the 3 things you can win simply by doing these 3 things. You've already subscribed. Share the blog post on whatever the hell social medias you got. And then send me an email to admin@horroranthologymovies.com. I know that for some people, that's maybe asking a bit too much, but you're just missing out on free shit. Let's put it that way. In any case, guys, yes, I know it's freaking awesome, Eric. It is. So, guys, get on over there and do it, or don't. You know, well, one of the two. It's whatever. You guys can do it or not. But it is an awesome giveaway. All right, guys, let's get to the canopy. Let me see if that's showing up here. Oh, good. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so, folks, as I said before, canopy, you know, it's linked to the public library system. You know, I don't know what the deal is. Not every library is connected with Canopy, unfortunately, but a ton are. Thousands of libraries are connected with Canopy. So, as you can see here, now there's a mixture of films. I've just added some of my current favorites. Obviously, the Eggers film, The Lighthouse, which is just fucking awesome. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. What a freaking movie, man. Just stunning. And it's on Canopy, and you can watch it commercial free. In its full glory, folks. Right there. Now, this is a classic. Ingmar Bergman, The Seventh Seal from 1957. Great freaking movie with Max von Sydow. Highly recommended. One of Bergman's greatest films, no doubt about that. It is just, if you're not familiar with this, let's go to it. Disillusioned and exhausted after a decade of battling in the Crusades, a knight, played by Max von Sydow, encounters death on a desolate beach and challenges him to a fateful game of chess. Now, that's not all that happens. A lot more shit happens. Oh, here we go. Yeah, they just kind of get into a little bit of a review of it. But there's a lot of shit that happens in this film. It's not just them playing chess. Just to let you know, it's a great flick, highly recommended, as is Melancholia. Great piece of science fiction. Kirsten Dunst, Alexander Skarsgård, Kiefer Sutherland, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Melancholia, directed by Lars von Trier. And You know, I watched the film. I really liked the film. It's a weird piece of science fiction, as they call it, dark sci-fi drama. Okay, yeah, I would say I would kind of agree with that. But they also say that Lars von Trier really made the film to come to grips with his own experiences with depression. That's basically it, and I've heard that before. Maybe that's, you know, maybe that's has something to do with it. But it's a good film, damn good film, highly recommended. I know I've talked about this one before, guys. Crimes of the Future, 2022. I mean, it's new. David Cronenberg, Viggo Mortensen, Kristen Stewart like you've never seen her before. What a great, weird character she is in this film. It's hilarious. And right off the bat, you know this is going to be good shit, folks. Warning, this film contains graphic content and may be upsetting and or offensive to some viewers. Now that's the shit we like to hear, folks. In the not too distant future, humankind is adapting to its toxic environment via mutation or surgery. Saul Tenser and his partner Caprice present his mutations as performance artists, while Timlin, Kristen Stewart, a government investigator, tracks their movements. Saul's notoriety incites a mysterious group to unveil the next phase of human evolution. It's David Cronenberg, folks. You know it's going to be sci-fi, you know it's going to be dark, and you know it's going to be weird. And it is. It's wonderfully weird. It's Crimes of the Future. Pretty new film on Canopy. And here comes his son, like father, like son. Now, I showed you guys the trailer to this. Possessor. Sci-fi horror at its finest. Good God. From the visionary mind of writer-director Brandon Cronenberg, Possessor is an arresting sci-fi thriller about elite corporate assassin Tassia Vos. Using brain implant technology, Vos takes control of other people's bodies to execute high-profile targets. As she sinks deeper into her latest assignment, Vos becomes trapped inside a mind that threatens to obliterate her. Folks, that ain't no joke. I'm telling you right now. Let's take a look at Possessor. The countdown to terror has begun.
Interface is active and we're at full power.
What's your levels this time?
You just make sure you pull the trigger on the way out.
After initial binding, you'll be locked in, with no loss of control permitted during this performance. We can't afford any mistakes on this one.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good.
That was weird. Hey, guys, did you see that? Hold on one second. Did you see that trailer? Okay, good. All right, great. Well, that was Possessor, folks. Highly recommended, currently on Canopy. Titan, I cannot really recommend. I don't know what the hell. It's kind of a quasi sci-fi flick. This chick gets into a car accident when she's a kid. She has a titanium plate placed into the side of her head. I found it rather annoying. So there you go. In any case, now let's get to some freaking classic science fiction, folks. And I'm talking Bug. 1975. Bradford Dillman starring in this film that was based upon the novel The Hephaestus Plague. A massive earth tremor opens a deep crevice in the California desert, releasing a bizarre and deadly breed of foot-long cockroaches which threaten to destroy the city of Riverside. Now, they're not foot-long. I don't know why they keep saying foot-long cockroaches, because some of them are just kind of large, but they're not foot-long. Which threaten to destroy the city of Riverside. Yeah, Riverside, California. Before spreading across the country. Entomologist Bradford Dillman tried to find a way to deal with these virtually indestructible creatures. The roaches also seem to have a high intelligence, which makes Dillman's tasks nearly hopeless. This is a creepy crawler right out of the worst nightmare. Bug. It's a very entertaining flick. Let's put it that way. Now, on the other hand, folks, Phase 4 is that's one of my favorite science fiction films of all time. It's another yearly watch for me. Got to see this. The macro photography in this film is second to none. I've never seen another film with macro photography like Phase 4. It's uncanny. This eerie tale about superintelligence ants marks the feature film directorial debut of noted designer Saul Bass. Of course, Psycho, James Bond. You know, this guy was a graphic designer par excellence, and he just made this incredible film, Phase 4. The story concerns two scientists who install themselves in an ant-proof dome full of computer equipment that interprets the ants' communications. When the men spread yellow poison over the area, annihilating millions of ants, the surviving ants find an antidote to the poison, and even stronger, they strike back. Oh yeah, folks, that's what they're doing. And let's see if this freaking trailer works. I don't know.
We will try to give you an impression of a new kind of film experience. If your curiosity is aroused, you are ready for Phase 4.
They're sending back my message.
What does it mean?
This is no message.
If there's an intelligence there, I wanted to know there's an intelligence here. I believe that,
I don't know. It said failed to play on my side, so hopefully you saw some of that. But that was, if you did, that was a bit of the trailer for Phase 4, which is currently on Canopy. Of course, A Boy and His Dog from the original Harlan Ellison novella. The year is 2024, a future you'll probably live to see. Well, I would say that's possible. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Just a great poster. Love this freaking movie. Of course, Don Johnson starring, based on the novella by Harlan Ellison. A Boy and His Dog is set in a post-apocalyptic future where canned goods are used as currency and where entertainment often consists of old porn reels. Sounds like me on a Saturday night. I mean, wait a second. Now, Vic, Don Johnson, is a violent, illiterate scavenger, principally interested in getting laid. Also sounds like me on a Saturday night. He communicates telepathically with his deceptively cute-looking dog, Blood, voiced by Tim McIntyre. Vic finds food for Blood, while Blood sniffs out girls for Vic. It's just an incredible freaking movie. Alvy Moore is in this film, of course, directed by L.Q. Jones. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It is fantastic. Another one that kind of tripped me out. I did not realize this. Now, you guys may be aware that there was a 1960s film called Failsafe, and it's great. You can see it may be on Tubi. The 60s version might be on Tubi. This is the year 2000 version, and it's really good, too. I have no complaints. Believe it or not, George Clooney stars the U.S. fighter pilot mistakenly commanded to start a nuclear war with Russia. Yeah, it's also timely, folks. Now he must be stopped at any cost to avert Armageddon in this chillingly realistic movie. You got all of these freaking people. Richard Dreyfuss is in this film. Harvey Keitel. Based upon the best-selling 1962 novel. Highly recommended. Both versions, actually. This one, I ran out of credits. I have not watched this film, but it sounds really intriguing. The Devil Conspiracy. Don't know if anybody has seen this or is familiar with it, but what a bizarre plot. A powerful biotech company has breakthrough technology allowing them to clone history's most influential figures with just a drop of DNA. Behind the company is a cabal of Satanists who steal the shroud of Christ, giving them possession of Jesus's DNA. The clone will serve as the ultimate offering to the devil. Archangel Michael comes to Earth, stopping at nothing to end the devil's conspiracy. Sounds really great. 2022 film, very intriguing. Sounds a little bit like, what was that film with Dennis Quaid? I want to say Legion. I may be wrong, but I think that's true. I mean, it's not with the genetic engineering and shit, the biotech firm, but the Archangel Michael comes down to Earth. It's Armageddon. I think it was Legion. I may be wrong. This is a really cool one. The Signal. What a trippy film. Now, this is a little older. It's 2007. But it's sci-fi horror. It says, a horror film told in 3 parts from 3 perspectives. in which a mysterious transmission which it invades every cell phone, radio, and TV turns people into killers. There you go. 2007, The Signal. Very interesting flick. Really enjoyed that a lot. I'll probably rewatch that. Probably missed a couple here. Jacob says Lighthouse is an incredible film. Yeah, I really dig the hell out of that thing. It's just fantastic. Eric says, I keep hearing about the Lighthouse. I will have to watch it soon. It's quite good. Well worth watching. Jacob says Viggo Mortensen is a great actor. Yeah, he's great in that film. The Crimes of the Future, man. And, you know, of course, he's been in other Cronenberg films, guys. Viggo Mortensen was also in Eastern Promises. Did you ever see that one? God, the Russian Mafia, the whole thing. Just excellent Cronenberg film. Excellent, completely different, not science fiction horror, you know, more like a crime drama. But Viggo Mortensen is great in that. Eric says, looks better than Phase 4 from Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I would definitely say that, Eric. Yeah. Oh, God. Jacob says, yes, the Dennis Quaid movie is called Legion. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Strangely, you know, there are just some really great sequences in that film that make you like, you just got to see it again. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's one of those movies that there's great scenes in it. And overall, it's a really good film with a couple of areas that are just don't quite work, I guess. But overall, it's really quite good, and well worth seeing at least a few times. I would totally. As a matter of fact, it's been a couple of years, Jacob. I'm gonna have to watch that film again. There was the other guy, the guy I think that he plays Michael the Archangel, and he's really quite good. I forget what the hell is Kevin Durant, I think. Eric says, yes, Eastern Promises was intense. Good movie. Yeah. David Cronenberg, you know, he also did History of Violence. He went, you know, after like Naked Lunch and so forth, he stopped with that. And he did Spider, A History of Violence, and Eastern Promises. All three of those films are really dramas, you know, and they're exceptional. All three of those films are just fantastic. Jacob says, Eastern Promises, no way. I love that movie. Had no idea. Yep, that is David Cronenberg, man. It just proves that Cronenberg can handle any freaking subject. And it's tits. Absolutely. I mean, look, he gets back into his, you know, great sci-fi horror, body horror stuff with Crimes of the Future. But Viggo Mortensen is great. Once again, and he's just such a good actor, you know. And I think Cronenberg really brings out something with the chick there. Who the hell is that? Kristen Stewart. Another dimension, which I was shocked when I watched it. Really quite interesting. So that is on Tubi, and of course the classic, The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Now this you can find, it's probably even on YouTube, I would imagine. But it is a great 60s sci-fi film. God, what a film, man. Ray Milland. dare to look into the eyes of madness when the brilliant Dr. Xavier Ray Milland concocts a serum to improve human sight. He stumbles upon a formula for X-ray vision, inspired by its medical potential but shunned by his short-sighted colleagues. The doctor tests the potion on himself, only to discover that his ability to see through walls, clothing, and flesh is slowly eclipsed by an insatiable desire to look still further, even if it means seeing more than any mortal can bear. So good. Such a great freaking movie. And of course, this brings us to film I just watched last night. Matter of fact, that ended my credits on Canopy. Dave Stevens, Drawn to Perfection. It's very good. Very good documentary. Dave Stevens created The Rocketeer and reintroduced the world to 50s pinup model Betty Page, while carving out his own unique corner of importance in comic book and illustration art. Dave showed the world what it's like to pursue the life of a creative individual. Now, it is a very good documentary. One thing that I'm not going to give you any spoilers. No spoilers on this. I think you should really watch this film. It's well worth seeing. But strangely, they leave out. It's weird. They kind of make Dave Stevens out to be this Southern California kid. That is not true. He was a teenager. He went to high school in Portland, Oregon. He was hanging out with these these people, the Herald sisters. They had a shop called Old Weird Heralds, and that is where things started to happen. That's where he started to really draw stuff. They had very small conventions and gatherings in Portland at Old Weird Herald shop. And it wasn't until, I don't know, a few years after those conventions and so forth that he went down to San Diego Comic-Con. They completely skipped over that part. And yet, in the documentary, they show his early drawings, many of which he did while he was in Portland. They just completely skipped it. It was like he never lived there. Very weird shit. I ended up talking to Rosie Harold. I had a kind of a lengthy conversation, back and forth emails with her about Dave Stevens living in Portland and, what they were up to there with the conventions and so forth. And it's amazing that they just completely left that part out. That was a rather huge beginning for Dave Stevens. And it's like he wasn't even there. Really strange. Otherwise, it's a very good documentary. There's a lot of people that are interviewed. Thomas Jane, the actor, is a huge Dave Stevens fan. Jeff Darrow is in there. Tim... I forget his name. Oh, well. There's a ton of people. Ton of artists you would recognize. Of course, William Stout is in there. Just fantastic. Recollections of Dave Stevens. The dude was just an absolute master. One of the greatest, whose life was cut too short. That's just the reality of it. Dave Stevens, Drawn to Perfection. Highly recommended. It is new. It is on Canopy without commercials. And speaking of Thomas Jane, who's in the Dave Stevens documentary, here he is in this film called Crown Vic. I just added this last night. I saw it, had to add it, have not seen it because I have no credits. I will have to wait until June. But I've heard some good things about this. During one night on patrol, a veteran cop, Thomas Jane, and his rookie partner, Luke Kleintank, chased down violent suspects while searching for a missing girl and hunting two cop killers on the loose in Los Angeles. So that's on the list. I plan on watching that one. Looks really good. Thomas Jane is quite good. You may recall him as the Punisher of course. He was the original Punisher. Ray Stevens, rest in peace. He just died a few days ago, sadly, I believe at the age of 58. He played the Punisher in Punisher Warzone, and I thought he was fantastic as the Punisher. Of course, he was in Rome. He was in a ton of movies, Ray Stevens, really, really great actor. Also in The Book of Eli as well, with Denzel Washington. But as you can see there, folks, Canopy really kind of kicked it into gear in May and added a lot of these films. So I was pleasantly surprised. Typically, that it's like a very mixed bag with Canopy. You're going to find, stuff that you just would probably not be interested in. I don't know. Who knows? But I just, it's just a mixed bag. But when they hit, they really bring some great flicks in, and you can't beat the price and the fact that it's commercial free. That is a big thing right there, folks. Let's check the chat one more time. Eric says, I'm a big Dave Stevens fan. I have posters of his art on my wall. I have to watch that documentary. Looks like I need to sign up for Canopy. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Look, there you go. I'm going to drop the linky in the chat right there. It's just well worth it. That's the one thing I was like, holy crap, they just got Dave Stevens' new documentary. And I swear to God, this thing just came out like, I don't know, several months ago. It's, new for like, I want to say like September, October of last year. And it's on Canopy. Fantastic, man. Eric says, gone too soon. Yeah, that was just, and they cover that too in the documentary. Like, I didn't know, how things happened with him. But God, I know that he died of cancer, obviously, hairy cell leukemia, but which is rare. It would want to, to add insult to injury. It's a rare cancer. And he just kind of slowly died. That was basically it. His health just diminished, despite all the chemo and all that shit. He just got worse and worse until he died. Very tragic. Yeah. Jacob says, got to watch that Dave Stevens. I saw that in the thumbnail earlier and thought, good God, man. Yes. Yes, indeed. Eric says, I didn't know any of that regarding Dave Stevens horror. Mike, thanks for sharing that info. You should have done the documentary. Well, here's the thing, Eric. I was going to do a documentary. What happened is that this is how shit works. This is how it goes. I'm on eBay. I'm looking for Dave Stevens stuff, right? I see this thing, and it's for like a piece of original art that Dave Stevens did when he was like 16 or 17 years old. And I'm like, what the hell? And I discovered that it's Old Weird Heralds. If you go to eBay, look up Old Weird Heralds. I'm sure they still have a few things for sale from Dave Stevens. So I'm like, okay, who are these people? And so I contacted them, and then I learned the story that, and sure enough, there were conventions. There was Nova 1 and 2 conventions, and I believe Jim Steranko was at Nova 2. Dave Stevens did the cover for the convention book, which is fantastic. And he's like 17, 18, something like that. It looks great. He's already, he's already pretty much doing stuff better than a lot of Marvel pros at that point. So I started talking with Rosie Harold, through through eBay at first, and then, through email exchanges. And I was going to do an actual documentary about Dave Stevens, the early years. And so I was like, and I told her, I was like, okay, look, I won't be able to go up to Portland to shoot the film. This was actually during COVID too. All the COVID bullshit. There was no fucking way I was going to fly anywhere, and travel was restricted anyways. All that shit. And she was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do video or recorded interviews. I was like, well, that ends that. That's it. She was like, yeah, I'd be happy to write out stories and send you stories, reminiscence of Dave Stevens at old Weird Heralds and the conventions and stuff like that. But I can't do an interview, I mean, she must be like probably pushing 80 or something at this point. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but she just didn't want to do any type of recorded interview. And look, if you're going to do a documentary, you have to have some talking heads. You have to have some people that are in, somehow directly involved with that whole thing. And not only does old Weird Heralds no longer exist, it's been long gone. It's no longer a store. But all the people, she was telling me, she's like, I don't know anybody else from that time that used to frequent the store. They're either all gone or they've died. So I was like, well, if I don't have you guys to interview for, this, then it's not much of a documentary. Let me put it that way. I decided it would not work as a documentary. With Haunted Thrills, I was able to get 3 of the original pre-code artists interviewed, and of course, Vincent Cerzolo from Metropolis Collectibles. And, for a short documentary, that was absolutely fantastic. It worked beautifully. With this one, I had nothing. I had I had some cool stories, She told me the thing about, I think it was Commander Cody. He was the kind of like, quote unquote, the original Rocketeer. I think it was Commander Cody, whatever the fuck, the guy that had the rocket pack and he flew around. And she said they went to a convention and he was there, and Dave Stevens, loved this guy. He was totally inspired. That was where Rocketeer came from. But the guy that played Commander Cody was pissed off because he just thought Dave Stevens was ripping him off, blatantly ripping him off. So Dave Stevens apparently went over there. He talked to him and he explained the whole thing, like as a child watching Commander Cody. And the guy calmed down. Apparently he understood where Dave Stevens was coming from. And that was pretty much it. That was the whole deal with that. But, what can you do? What can you do? Interesting story. It's just too bad that it's not part of this Dave Stevens documentary. I think they could have spent 5 minutes on it. They just chose not to spend any time whatsoever on it. Really, really kind of sad, actually. But yeah, so there you go, folks. That is the show for tonight. And but next week, definitely we will be back on with Tubi. But I definitely wanted to show you the stuff that's going on with Canopy, because it's, if you can, if your library is playing ball with Canopy, you gotta get in there, man. It's just, you have nothing to lose, and you have all the free movies to gain with no commercials. That's the whole thing right there, man. No commercials. Absolutely fantastic. So once again, thanks for being here tonight, friends. And you guys have a great rest of the weekend. And I will see you next Friday.